Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And today we are talking about basically, we're talking about pressing in for your breakthrough. When it comes time for a lot of our breakthroughs, and sometimes we actually, to be honest, have missed our moment of breakthrough because this is a cycle that we see a lot of people that are waiting on a breakthrough to go through. We see the words, we get the encouragement. You're about to break through. It's in its way. You're in the midst of a miracle. It's coming. It's all of this. It's be ready. Your breakthrough is here. It's going to come to pass. You passed your test. It's time to go and blah blah blah. And you're like, yes, yes, yes. All right. You got all the encouragement, and then comes the word that don't nobody want to listen to, don't nobody want to hear, don't nobody want to take heed to, because that's when it comes to the point. It says faith without works is dead. We get that moment where we get faith. We get the encouragement. Yes, 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 we're ready. Then come the works. Then comes the point in time where they let you know, oh, you thought you was going to go and claim your territory without having to fight. Oh, you thought you were going to go and get this thing and it wasn't going to be no pushback. Oh, you thought you were about to go into this thing and it was just going to be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Oh, you thought it was going to, and they're like, hello, the enemy been fighting you all the way up until this point. You think he's just going to say, oh, by the way, I concede here, take your blessing, take your possessions, here, you can have it. I know I fought you all the way up until this point, but you know what? I'm tired. I'm just, here. No! You tired. You frustrated. You don't want to deal with it. You over it. You've been through this. You've been through this cycle. You know this thing. You know what it says. You know what it looks like. You know what it appears to be. You've seen it before. Hello. And what it is you end up in this place, in this headspace, you have to fight your own doubt because you have seen this sequence of things play out before. This morning I was on a phone call and got some information that I wasn't particularly happy about because I was trying to process through some stuff. And I found out I had to go through doing certain things, but I found myself thinking back to the last time I had to deal with all of this, and I found myself in a state that if I allowed myself to sit there, I would say to myself, you went and you did all of this before. And because you went through and did all of this before, cleaned the situation up, got it clear, you were ready to receive what you needed to get, and the whole thing collapsed. You lost everything, ended up in a dry season, and now you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, is this even worth my time or my energy? Some of y'all are supposed to go back to school, but you've gone back to school several times before, and because of financial issues, because of student loan debts, because you didn't have the time, because you didn't have the ability at the time to do it, or you see now you're going to have more responsibilities in the season to come, that you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. And God's saying, it's up to you. But if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do this. And then it's that element of, do I want to even bother pressing in for this? Do I really want it that bad? Were we not talking about yesterday? Do you really want it? How hungry are you? I was telling you about the fact that most people say that if you don't want to be in the entertainment business, don't want to be in the creative arts business, you might as well let it go now, because you have to have a passion for that thing, that it is your everything. Because if it's not your everything and you are not dedicating yourself to it with the passion that you need to dedicate to it, you're going to run out and you're going to lose everything. Because it's not for the faint of heart. And there are certain things that the Lord is showing you that you're going to need that extra level of education. Yeah, Lord put you through a season where he pulled you away from all of that and he had you learning in other ways. But in some places, yeah, you're going to need that certification of the degree. In some cases, you need to just go to get the experience that you would not get had you not taken those courses, gaining knowledge that you would not have acquired had you not read those textbooks. I ended up writing an entire book off of a chapter in one of my sociology books because of the fact that I found out information I did not know because it was in that book while I was in college before. Some of it's, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. There's certain levels of knowledge that you would not know had not been for things that you were exposed to, for something that the Lord told you that he needed you to do. But the fact of the matter is, now you're looking back at the scenario and the Lord's saying, I need you to do this. And he's saying, yeah, I need for you to do this. But I need you to understand something. I'm going to get you through this process. I need you to take the steps. But we already tired, aren't we? We're already lethargic. We're already frustrated. We're already done with it. We're like the pregnant woman that is already at the 9th month. Just get the daggone baby out of me. Don't make me have to push it out. Call the doctor. Give me the C-section. I don't care what you do. But I don't want to have to sit here for the next 14 hours and have to push this baby out. And God's sitting there saying, I'm trying to tell you, you're not going to have to wait that long for this baby to come out. If you push, you're going to get it in this amount of time. There are women that go into labor and they have to wait 14 to 19 hours for that baby to come out. There's some women that go into labor within an hour, that baby is out. Some of y'all have been pregnant with babies that the Lord is trying to tell you, you're going to go into labor with this thing and it's going to happen like that. It's going to be a quick labor. I remember listening to a story of my coach where she was talking about when she gave birth to one of her children, the last child that she gave birth to, she got to the hospital and told the doctor, this baby's going to be here for the next 45 minutes. And they're like, no. It's going to be at least 2.5 hours. We know we're going to get you in there. We're going to get you ready. You're going to have to sit and you're going to have to wait. The doctor ain't even here yet. So, and she's like, I am telling you, I know my body that this baby's going to come out in about 45 minutes. And like, no. They put her in the stirrups, set her up there, checked her cervix. Oh my God, the baby's coming. Oh my God. She said, I told you. I told you. God's trying to tell you, I told you this baby is about to come out. I told you this miracle, that thing you've been praying for, that thing you've been pressing for, that thing that you've been pressing into is about to come out. And you thinking, oh, I got 14 hours. The doctor's thinking, oh, you got 14. I ain't even going to come. I'm on my lunch break. Why I need to be here for this? It's not going to take that. It's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute. It's going to take another 12 to 14 months. It's not going to. I don't need to be there yet. Why I need to be there? And God's saying, no, do it now, because if you do it now, you have a window of time. This is going to occur right now. And you're still sitting there. Every time I did this before, it took a whole bunch of time. Every time I set this up to get this done, it took a whole bunch of time. And God's like, I need you to press in. I know it's uncomfortable, but if you press in, I'm telling you, you're going to get that one good push and it's going to be over. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. Revelations. But I've set before you an open door. I know I have seen what you can do. Now watch what I can do. Trust God, because this is the season that the King is in the field and he is saying, I am going to do this for you. I know that you are tired. I know that you are restless. I know you have had to wait on this thing. And I know there are a whole bunch of other things that you are going to need to put your hands to. But I'm trying to show you that this is the thing I need you to put your hands to right now. There was something that the Lord showed me in a dream that showed me that I was going to be doing what I did today, and I did it. But I have extra steps I need to take. Sometimes the thing in which we're seeking, it takes a few extra steps for us to get that thing done. It does. But you know what? It's going to be a blessing in you receiving it when it's completed. It is. Because a woman who has been pregnant with a child carries that child for 9 months, but the day that that baby comes out, they ain't worried about the pain that they went through for that baby to get out. They just look at the miracle of the fact that they have a child in their hands. The thing in which you've been pressing for, praying for, seeking for, crying out to the Lord to receive, you've sat up in the middle of the night and you've pressed in. You've gotten up between 3 and 6 in the morning and you've sat there and you've prayed and you fasted and you've toiled and you've done all of the things that you were supposed to do in order to prepare for that thing to be birthed, because you were birthing it in the spirit first before you ever birthed it in the natural. And the Lord is showing you, yes, you already birthed this thing in the spirit. I just need you to take the physical steps. I remember years ago when my coach used to first start telling me, she's like, you just have to walk through it. I hated when she said you just have to walk through it, because I'm like, how long that gonna take? How long this gonna take? Because in the spirit, God done showed you this has already happened. This has already happened in the spirit. You already have this. So this already happened. And God's like, now I need you to walk through the steps physically. I need you to walk through it. But God shows you in the process. He shows you the process. He shows you in the process, yes, you're going to go through a dry period. I'm going to point this out, and I'm probably going to end up going through this whole teaching later at another point where I talk about the dry season. There was a story I saw in 2020 one night, and Lord, let me see this, about 6 years ago, about a woman who went through our OTC training and ended up stuck in the desert for 7 days. She had no cell service. She had all these things that she thought she was ready to die. But she used some of her ROTC training in order to get herself out of the predicament. Because as she knew, towards those last days out there in the desert, she'd run out of water, she'd run out of food, she'd run out of everything else. And the Lord was saying, or we can look at it like this, she was going through all of that. There was a certain amount of steps that if she managed to push herself to go through these last few steps, she was going to get the breakthrough. There was 2 things that she had to do. She had to put out the SOS signal to show I need help through, she wrote something down in the sand out there. You are in a wilderness that the Lord is going to have to lift you out of. Emily did a video. She's done several videos where she talks about God is preparing to lift you out. But the last one that she did called, You've Passed Your Test. She talks about God is preparing to lift you. And I believe the last video that she did yesterday talks about how the Lord is preparing to lift you and reconcile you in certain situations. But the point being is that you must be lifted out of this situation. This woman had to be lifted out of this situation. She was in a dry season, a dry desert. She was out of food, out of water. She needed rescue. I have been having dreams that the Lord is showing that He is going to send the rescue to you. You are going to receive the rescue. In order for you to receive the rescue, you have to take the few press-in steps. And sometimes it feels to you like a lot, but it's little steps that needed to be taken. This woman that was out in the desert, she had two things she had to do. She had to create the SOS signal with a stick by putting out "help me" so that they could see if they sent a helicopter. 2, she had to walk to the place that she could get a signal on her phone so that she could be heard and received to tell them, hey, I need help. Some of us are too prideful that we won't go through the steps necessary to admit, yeah, I need help. Yeah, I need help. There's this one thing that I'm working on that I just can't take care of myself, but I need help. I need someone to help me figure out this process. I need to fill out these papers to request the assistance necessary to take care of this problem. And some of us are too prideful to do that. I had to literally sit with myself over the thing that I was dealing with this morning and say to myself, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this at the very least. And even the person that was helping me on the phone said, you want to do this to at least get rid of it. Once this is done, whether you decide to do this right now or not, that's up to you. But what needs to happen is you need to take care of this part. So I've been sitting on that since this morning. Press in. Make the phone calls. Put out the SOS. Request the help. Put out the feelers for the help in which you're seeking. Sometimes the very help you're seeking is seeking you. Ever heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears? When you are ready to receive the help will show up. If you press in, you may not have to do the thing all by yourself, but if you do the things necessary in order for you to show up, as Tiffany Montgomery will always say, and she's been saying this recently, sometimes you just got to show up to the battle. It's not the fact that you got to fight, but we have the tendency, because we had to fight all the way up to this point, the Lord's saying, I just need you to show up. I'm going to take care of it. Remember when the three Hebrew boys? No, it was the 4 men that was sitting outside of the settlers' camp. They were sitting out there figuring, oh my God, if we go into this camp, they're going to kill us. Because they were all the 4 people the 4 lepers were sitting outside of the camp, and they were like, we can't go in there. They're going to kill us. And the Lord was trying to tell them, no, go in there. Because if you go in there, you're going to find out that they heard all this noise and all this commotion. They're like, oh Lord, they're going to kill us. They went in, and what happened? They found out the entire camp had been decimated, and all they had to do was pick up the spoils. But sometimes you just got to show up. You got to take the steps. Yes, you're tired. Yes, you're forlorn. Yes, you've gone through all of this. A lot of us have been praying for 4 and 5 different areas of our life that seem like they haven't moved, and God's just saying, I need you to take these last few steps. Just a little bit longer. Remember what I said in the GPS system, that we are that close to the outside of the manifestation of our blessing. And sometimes we have the tendency that we want to keep spinning around outside of the blessing. And God's saying, look, I just need you to take these few more steps. It's just going to be a little bit longer, but I need you to take the steps necessary and I will take up the slack. Just do what I'm asking you. Faith without works is dead. Did I not say in the broadcast yesterday that when you were going through that process, that when you were going through this experience, that you had to walk through the experience, that you had to be willing to take the steps to lift yourself into the position to be elevated, to even be noticed. Yes, the things are going to scout you out, but you got to be in the right position. And one of the things that the woman said to me while I was on the phone with her is like, prepare. And I was like, goodness, I know that's God. And it's like, when I was telling you the story about how I received that $80,000 program for nothing, I had to put myself in the position to even request it, and I got it. Some of you got to put in the application for the apartment. You have to put in the application for the student aid if you're trying to go back to school. You got to just put in for it. God will take care of the rest. Some of us have lost faith to the degree that because we've had to go through these dry seasons where we've done it before and it didn't work. We did it before and we lost everything after getting it completed. And it's like, I can't go through losing this stuff again. And for those of y'all that are waiting on God ordained relationship, listen to it like this. I know that when I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I can't do this again. I had gone through 7 years of a relationship that person thoroughly destroyed everything in my spirit. And I said to myself, no, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. Either you go and find my God ordained spouse, or I'm not going to date anyone. And I have not dated, have not been involved, have not dealt with anyone in a relationship since then. There are people that have flirted, there are people that have asked. They all came at me inappropriately, but when they did, that's like, no. You have got to be willing to do the work, take the steps. If the Lord told you that I need you to take these 3 steps and you will get your God ordained spouse, would you be willing to take them? Some of you wouldn't take them just simply for the fact of the matter that you're too afraid that person might actually be the person that you need to be with. So you're going to look, you're going to doubt, you're going to try to figure out every excuse to sabotage yourself. And the Lord is saying, I just needed you to take the steps. I just needed you to take the steps. And sometimes the steps look like God removing everybody around you that you would go to that would help you, because he's saying, nah. I know that you would go to these people. I know that you would go to them for help. Remember in the supernatural GPS system, that because of the supernatural GPS system, my dad tried to go to people and ask them for directions. It didn't work. There are people that you will probably go to, people that you would think that would be able to help you, your friends, your family, your whoever. And the Lord has isolated you in a dry season because he needs to show you, no, I need you to press into me this season. I need you to press into me, because this one ain't nobody gonna get the credit for but me. Now, yeah, your God ordained spouse might come in and they may become a savior to the day at a particular point. But there's parts that I want to get the credit for in this season that I don't need them to get credit for yet. So I need you to sit in this dry place, and you're going to sit there until you do the thing I asked you to do in order to receive what it is that I'm going to give you, because you keep telling me, well, what you going to do, Lord, what you going to do? I'm going to let you sit there until you do what I told you to do, so that I can show you how I'm going to bless you. So you seek me out and I'll give you the answer. Maybe the answer may not look like what you wanted it to look like. It may not look like you going out into the world and doing this. Maybe it looks like God telling you, I need for you to apply for school and finish the education in which you were supposed to have been completed previously. And you're sitting there like, but God, I don't really want to do that. I have to do it. And you're like, I really don't want to have to do that. And God's like, I need for you to do that, or it's not going to work. And some of you are in a phase where you feel like this season is so dry, but sometimes it's not the fact that the Lord is allowing the enemy to block you and guard you. Yes, there's such thing as a guardian spirit that will not allow you to move forward, and it blocks you and demonically prevents you from being able to move forward in a season. But sometimes the Lord's trying to tell you there is no guardian, there's nothing. I'm just letting you sit in this because I want to prove to you that I can do this for you. No one can do anything without the Lord's permission. If they did, it's a supernatural violation. And they're going to receive a spiritual reprimand for what they did. But sometimes the Lord will allow it because he wants to show you, oh, I'm going to let this get as bad as you think it can get. And then I'm going to save you from it because that's part of the testimony. But sometimes it doesn't have to get that bad because God's trying to tell you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to save you. You stay in prayer. You stay in alignment. You stay in this. I will give you the direction needed in order for you to get the clarity of what steps in which you need to take in order to move forward with this thing. But now that I've given it to you, faith without works is dead. What are you going to do? Are you going to work your faith and do what I told you to do? Are you going to press in and get this win so that you can see the manifestation of the Lord? And I want to tap on something that I saw last night. I was looking at the secondary episode of the show that I used to like to watch, and the young woman, she had been in a dry season. She had went to another state. She was living in another city. She had gotten her own place. She was dealing with all of this, and she literally ran into people that were in a slavery mindset, and they had gone through it for years. It was like watching people go through the 40 years in the wilderness and dying off. And she came to the understanding that she ended up in that same place, and she knew that if she did not get herself together and recognize who she was and fight her way out, she was going to get stuck down there just like everybody else. And her character, her internal passion for herself, and her survival instinct said, this is not you. Don't you dare let them control you like this. And she went in and she fought. She fought her way out. And it turned out the person that was leading the pack of people that was doing this to the people, they ended up dying because they got outsmarted by somebody pushing them off the ledge. Sometimes your enemies will make a huge, grandiose, intimidating vocal presence. There used to be this meme I saw, and it was saying that the only time that a person can have power over you is if everybody is standing in the place to hold them in that power. But when everyone steps off of this, it was like a seesaw. But the other end of the seesaw where this political figure was standing was over a ravine. And all they had to do was step off of the belief system in which they were being toted in that moment. When these people in this situation stopped listening to this particular overseeing leader, they were pushed off the ledge. Sometimes the things intimidating you are only up there because you're holding them at a level that if you release your belief system and mindset and allow them to fall, they'll impale themselves on their own sword. She fought, she won, and she freed all of the people. Some of y'all have a leadership anointing upon you that you're supposed to free people. helped them to get out of that place. This woman led them out of the slavery and bondage that they were in to freedom. But they had to follow her once their leader got killed. It's the same thing that happened with slavery. That when the slavery mindset was broken, they could release them back into society, but they were still mentally slaves, which was the point. For 400 years, they had been taught mentally to believe this thing, and systems and situations were put into place in order to continue to maintain mindsets that kept them slaves. But we as leaders are supposed to come in and break the bondages to those mindsets and belief systems and political viewpoints and all of these kinds of things. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not. But if God gave you the entrustment to be the leader in that element, then you press in and you do the work. Are you willing to do the work to stand for what you have to stand for? And press in. Your win is around the corner. This is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings. Until next time. Bye-bye.